good evening, and welcome to this edition of the Island Stats Cricket Show. I'm your host, Earl Baston. Joining me is co-host Terry Frey, as well as co-host Doc Manders. Gentlemen, first of all, happy Father's Day.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
And
Much,
happy
Earl.
Father's Day to all our viewers and listeners
You too.
here today. Gentlemen, just to let you know, Cal Waldron, the national coach, will be joining us at the bottom of the hour. As we know, today the World Cup T20 World Cup America's qualifiers got underway. Just to run down the scores from that, Canada scored 205 for 5 in their 20 overs, and Bermuda were bowled out for 95. We'll get into that game. Also, on the local front, the 50-over league got underway today in Premier Division. St. George's Cricket Club were bowled out for 132, but they scraped through because they bowled Flats Victoria out for 109. Cleveland County were bowled out for 88, and Bailey's Bay scored 89 for 3. In First Division play, Somerset Bridge scored 196 all out. Southampton Rangers replied with 197 for 1. PHC edged Western Stars. PHC were all out for 117. Western Stars were all out for 115. Willocots scored 198 all out up at the Somerset Cricket Club against Devonshire Recreation Club, but Devonshire Recreation Club could only manage 110 in reply. So those are the results that we have from this weekend, gentlemen. Let's get into the we'll talk a bit about the Bermuda game. Obviously, going into the game, me personally, I had some concerns with preparation only because it was the smash was right in line with where the team would have been, gelling together kind of thing. But it is what it is. But let me ask you, Gary, were you surprised? Because one thing we know Canada has a psychological edge over us. We won the toss this morning and sent them to bat, and they're a very aggressive team. Were you surprised by that?
No, not at all. You're talking about the result, or
no, us winning the toss and sending them to bat.
Not really. I mean, I guess going into that tournament, I guess they felt that they were better chasing,
right.
in this situation, because that Bermuda team has a few of the early order batsmen that are in pretty good form.
Yes.
So maybe they were taking that cautionary route of chasing as opposed to setting,
right.
a target. Right. But again, it's the batting had failed them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't even get 100. So
right.
It's all about partnerships. And it doesn't seem like that happened early in the innings. You see?
No.
You don't get a good start. And you got a run out for that. Early like that with one of your batsmen,
right.
You're always going to be behind the ball game,
I just realized the two openers fathers are with me tonight.
Yes.
I just realized it.
But I know Doc ain't running me out.
Right?
And I think that run out was mainly Trey's fault too. If you look at it, and if you look at it how it was, like not putting his bat on instead of his feet,
right?
And I'm sure he was upset with that too, just the way how he was walking off,
right.
And the thing about it, once you're playing against the Canada, the teams that guys are, they're looking out for runs like that.
Right.
Or anything, I mean, like, anything like that, you got to be conscious of that, man. You have to make sure that instead of putting your feet in, you got to ground, you got to get your bat in, and it kind of costs them if you think about it, because, you don't need no early wickets chasing 204.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know what it's like to even get a run out that early, a run out early
exactly.
Means you're always going to be behind the ball game, because a run out actually hinders the momentum that the team is trying to build,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that didn't start off well with them if that. But
No,
it
it
just
didn't.
show you that,
I mean,
even our senior players have got to
you're walking off
pay
the field.
attention to the basics. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Yeah.
The
When you're walking
basics.
off the field, you're looking at the scoreboard and it's 2:05 up there. You're thinking, okay, we have to get a good start, and then in the pavilion, and you're looking, and somebody's walking back. You know, the first 2 overs.
Yeah.
You know, you've already been struggling to get the ball out off the square. You know, beating the circle.
Right.
And then it was just constant rotation of guys out, guys in, guys out, guys in.
Biggest foul too regular.
Yeah. But we'll get an opportunity to talk to the coach about, what transpired, for the entire day. And obviously now we have to pick ourselves up, because clearly we have to beat the other 2 teams twice.
Right.
And hope there's an opportunity for us to face Canada that last day and pick up a win. But we're going to need that emotional high and all of that goes with it. But we'll get the chance to speak with Cal at the bottom of the hour, and talk more about that particular today's game, and then looking forward to obviously the rest of the tournament. Doc, I'm gonna jump right to this first division game. Western Stars, PHC. 28 foul, 232 runs in 54.4 overs, total, 117, and Western Stars all out for 115. Take us through obviously Western Stars, take us through the PAC inning, and then take us through the Western Stars inning.
Well, I only saw a little bit of PAC's innings. PAC innings, they never got a start. They always was continuously losing wickets.
Yes.
They got Chris Douglas out pretty early, and then they brought on. It was like a spinner's wicket. It was taking a lot of turn.
Right.
You got Rohan Davis came on. He got like 5 wickets, right?
5 wickets. Yeah.
Yep. And towards the end, I think it was Charles Trott. He batted south late. He ended up with 20. Yeah, he ended up with 20 something not out, and he lost partners towards the end, so they only posted 117. But each time the Berlin was real tight, but it looked like it was taking a lot of spin, because and that's mainly because guys are not putting away the bare balls, not using the feet. Right. And picking up these singles. You always talk about sore fans. I watched both innings, and everybody kept hitting the ball hard to players.
Yeah.
And I'm like, geez, you could drop that and take a single. You're up the other end. You're rotating the strike. And it was 50 overs. I mean, like it was one of those games where like you thought one minute you looked like Stars going in, because Stars was like 60, almost 50, 60 over loss,
Right. Yeah.
And then my son came on the ball torn.
Yeah.
Ended up getting 4 or 5 wickets.
Yeah,
and it was for the top batsmen. I'm like, you guys, like, and the ball was turning a bit, but nobody and the way I looked at it, he was bowling. Most of the spinners were bowling good. Rohan and him. Yeah. But like I said, you got to put away the bare balls, and you have to pick up the singles. Mm-hmm. And that's not only a Stars and PHC thing. That's like a country thing, like same way in Bermuda's game, we have to start rotating the strike, man. Like we got to pick up the singles. And sometimes if you look at the national games, you don't get too many bare balls,
No.
You have to improvise. You got to make sure if you got anything short, you got to be back on your back foot hitting it, or anything full. You got to make sure if you're driving, you either got to go over the top. If they got guys up, or if they're back, take the singles.
Right.
And both innings today from Stars and PAC, none of the batsmen really done that, especially to the spin. I think spin accounted for, let's see, auditors, 20 something wickets, 19, 20 wickets. Spin got more than half, got 3/4.
Right.
Royal got 5, and I think one out of 2 spinners got some more. I think Chris Douglas came on the ball and got 1 or 2. So so it was one of those games that went both ways, man. Stars could have easily won too, because the scores were level. I mean, I'm sorry, it was 115. They got a free hit, right? Let's say that they got a free hit. It was a no ball on free hit. I think Chris overstat. So I'm saying it's 115. I was telling you, I can't remember who was betting. I said, that's a free hit. You got to score for that.
Right.
You know? Even if you got 2, the scores are tied or whatever.
And
I think it was Campbell, and I think Sefton he tried to hit it, but he only got. I think he only got. I didn't even know if he scored. Tell you the truth,
no, he couldn't.
Because they operate off of that. The last guy got up the other end, and he got out the first ball.
Right.
So it's one of those games where both teams, it was just like I think with Bayard betting on both parts. Even though, it was a few drop catches there too, but even though it was that, I think PHC never they just consistently put pressure on Stars towards the end. Yeah. And I think basically they kind of buckled, man.
Yeah.
But it was an easy game for them to win, man. Like 6-2 loss. Right. And then you lost like 4 or 5 wickets in like 10 runs or something like that. So you let PHC right back in.
Yeah.
So
Turin won the battle of the Mendes.
Yeah. Turin he did, because he got out my nephew.
Yeah.
Jade, and it started looking good. And not only that, he bowled good from one end, and Charles Trott bowled good from the other end. Put a lot of pressure on the batsmen to come. Right. And it was some I have to say with Chris Douglas, a senior player, and some of the other senior players from PHC, they always put pressure on Stars, on the middle order and the tail end, but keeping the fielding up. They put them back. Every new batsman came in, they putting pressure on them.
Right.
So, but like I said, even though the field was up, some of the balls that were bad, they should have still capitalized on it. But it was a good game, man. It's one of those games you couldn't leave, man. And like I said, Stars ended up losing, and he still had like 15, 20 overs left.
Yeah. They only betted 28.1.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. But it's looking at that, what that's come from 2020.
Yeah.
Now we're in 50 over mode.
Right.
Some of the guys that was getting out was still attacking, whereas they could have, And then when we started losing wickets, both teams, when they started losing wickets, they still wasn't putting away the bad balls.
Right.
Because they lost so many wickets, new batter coming in. So it was almost like the game for me, because I was following that online too.
Right.
Like each person that was getting out, you never got a start to Derek. I got 30 towards the end, but chasing a total like 200 you needed a good start in that Bermuda game, just to put a little pressure on Canada, but we never did off of that early run out. So and that's what happens, man. Cricket's a strange game, man.
Let's jump to the Premier Division. Earlier today, Eastern County rivals Bayliss Bay and Cleveland County took to Seabreeze Oval. You had Bayliss Bay winning the toss and sending Cleveland to bat. Cleveland, have struggled in the T20 scoring runs, and that struggle continued because they were bowled out for 88. You had Darwin Adams, the top scorer, with 24. Terry, who's this fella Ware playing for Bayliss Bay? Where you guys find him? Because he took 5 for 24.
I've never seen him play before.
4 wickets.
I've never seen him play before until today. I only saw a couple of overs in Berlin. I mainly went down to see one of our young Freystar players playing in the Cleveland team. But he seems to build pretty good line. Pretty good length, and seems to know he knows what he's doing.
Where's he from?
I have no idea. I got no information. I have to have a chat with Coach Goss and find out
Yeah.
Deal is with him.
So Terry, is he a medium bowler, medium to fast, or he will spin?
It's like in between, Doc.
Oh.
Yeah, like in between. You know, he pushes it through off a little run up, you know. But you could tell
basically lying in length.
Yeah, and he uses variation.
Variations, see. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
How many did he get? 4?
5.
5.
Michael Guard got 4.
Who?
A guard.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
That's 9 right there.
Yeah. There's two through Cleveland. So and then Bayless Bay scored 89 for 3. You had Coolidge getting 27 not out. Rodney Trott was 22 not out. Those two took it across the line. But you know, got to try. Cleveland's got to try and figure out what they're going to do, where they're going to go from here. You know.
Yeah.
They have to set themselves small targets, and one of the targets should be, let's try to get 100 runs in 25 overs. You know what I mean? And then go from there. If you watched, I mean, they struggled to get 110, 120 in the T20.
Right.
And then to be billed out for 88 in 50 overs.
Yeah.
You know.
From what I saw, again, I think, like Doc alluded to a moment ago, they're still in that T20 mode.
Yeah.
You know? So, you know, the 50 over process, the shot selection should be much better. You know what I mean? But they're still in that mood. So hopefully they'll settle down a little bit.
Yeah.
And have that discussion, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, I guess
and talking about Cleveland, if you look at that team, they have some senior players in their ranks. Like it's surprisingly like you know, you got guys like Burma, the boy Young, McGowan, and these guys. The guy Chris Darrow is like, it's hard not to see him, like not to get at least, you know, some runs on the board.
Right.
You know, and like you said, it's been happening in the T20. So you would think like in 50 overs, guys will settle down and at least try to build their innings. But well, you got to see it's still the first round or the 50 overs. Hopefully, the next round, the players will say, look, you know, let's try to bet 50 overs. You know what I mean? Like
to play cricket, I want to bet all day.
Yes, put up a nice total.
Yeah.
So
we'll wait and see. What we're going to do is we're going to take our first commercial break, and when we come back, we'll continue this conversation. We'll get into the St. George's match as well as the Willicotts and Devonshire Rec match. We'll be right back.
Putting down the weapons.
You seen this? It's time to tee up, Bermuda. The Amateur Stroke Play Championship returns this June at the iconic Port Royal Golf Course. All golfers are welcome, some precise, some not so precise. Get ready for the action whether you're chasing birdies or just trying to find your ball. This is your shot. Sign up now at bermudagolf.org and get ready to play. Proudly supported by Lindo's, celebrating the spirit of sport and community. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Beneath the cloud blue sky, where the ocean meets the land, and the long tails fly in Bermuda. Our hearts belong to this beautiful island. As an island, we are strong, proudly Bermudian. In every single way, from the sunrise to the sunset, in every single day, listening. Cause we are proudly Bermudian. Digicel is proudly Bermudian. Digicel is proudly Bermudian.
And welcome back. Well, gentlemen, down at Wellington Oval, St. George's Cricket Club took on Flats Victoria. St. George's will win the game by 23 runs. St. George's will go up for 132, with Flats all out for 109. Detroit Smith was the top scorer for St. George's with 39. Keegan Jones came 4 for 24. In reply, Dejan Carey was the top scorer for Flats with 26. Detroit had a fine all-round performance. He took 4 wickets for 19 runs and also executed a run-out. St. George's were obviously missing their captain, Sinclair Smith, Jonte Smith. But they struggled today. They literally struggled against a Flats team. Now, I would say, and I think we talked about it as well, Flats have been consistent in bowling, in their bowling, even in the T20. It's the batting that they're struggling with. Doc, when you look at a team like Flats, they've been able to restrict teams, but just cannot get the runs. How do they adjust themselves? Because 132, if you have a pavilion, you sit down and you set out how you're gonna get these runs.
Exactly. It's similar to Cleveland, in it. They seem to be bowling and fielding well, but it seems like another team that's struggling to make runs. There's missing JJ now today. I don't know if he played.
Yeah, he was out early.
Oh, see, and that's one of the batsmen for the last couple of years has been scoring lots of runs for a minute.
Right. Yeah.
So and the guy Carey, and then you have Keegan Jones, another young upcoming batsman.
Right.
And the boy Franks. So they have the batsmen there. It's just that I don't know, these guys. That 2020 start the season off like I said, it's still seeing a lot of players in that 2020 mood. And again, it comes from like not getting. You see, always that one today. Got good start. Look at Rangers chasing Breach. They got 190, right? I say, oh, that's and then they got like 190 for one.
For one,
Right. So they got a good start and they capitalize on it. So that's the start. It's good to always got a nice start, no matter if it's 20, 50 overs. It takes a lot of pressure off the incoming batsman. And for Cleveland and Flats, like I haven't seen them, like they're always losing wickets early in the innings.
Yeah.
And they're finding it right now hard to come back.
Yeah. Terry, they lost, Flats lost the first wicket on 3, and then the second wicket on 21, and then it was like every 10 runs they were losing a wicket, and it got to a point where they just they couldn't get over that almost 10 or 11 run gap.
Yeah, because betting is about partnerships, especially when you're looking at 50 over game. It's about partnerships and building the partnerships. And I think a lot of the teams need to focus on that as a betting unit. It's about partnerships, because 50 overs, you get a couple of good partnerships, you're getting 225, 250.
Yeah.
That's the scores that you should be trying to achieve. You know what I mean?
Right.
But so the approach should be about partnerships, betting partnerships.
Yeah. Now let me ask you. I'm going to ask you both, because it would appear that some of the teams that are not got coaches, when I say coaches, to plan out how they're going to attack, those are the teams that seem to struggle. Would that be a kind of a good way of looking at? Because you look at a team like Cleveland, you look at a team like Flats, Even look at a team like Somerset Bridge. You know, you got to have somebody there that's going to kind of guide you and help you, not just with your technique, but with planning on how to build it in, how to, you know, rotate strikes and all of that. Is that a true assumption of what I'm saying?
Yeah, most definitely. You know, and if you look at a lot of these teams, they got player coaches, right?
Right.
So you know, they got one eye on the team, and the other eye is on their own personal performance, right?
Right.
So you know, they're not really giving that 100% attention to the coaching aspects of it in terms of strategies, the planning, you know, the bowling group, the batting group, how we're going to bowl to certain batsmen, you know, and how we're going to bat against certain bowlers. You know, that comes from coaches that are dedicated to just that task.
Right.
Unfortunately, you know, for various reasons, the clubs may not be able to afford that. You know, because a lot of coaches, the battle coaches, you know, obviously want to get paid for it. A lot of clubs are not in any financial state to be able to do that. But yeah, I just find that because you know, a lot of the coaches are player coaches. You know,
right. Now, back in the day, I mean, before we were playing, because you start to hear all the names of the guys who used to lead the teams. They were players, but the difference back then was the other players came with an attitude of, what they're mean today, or, you know, and they put in the work. You know, individually they put in the work, and then when they got to team training, it all kind of came together. Where guys are just showing up nowadays just to play, I guess. I mean,
so you remember when I was talking to you earlier, a couple of weeks ago, Earl, when they talked about processes?
Yes.
You know, and when we fail to put the processes in place and follow the processes, then this is the type of results that we get. You know what I mean? Because if you keep on hindering processes and skipping processes, then all it does is halt progress. It's a simple equation. You know what I mean? But hopefully, you know, as time goes forward, you know, we can get these processes back in place so that, you know, everybody here in Bermuda benefits as a cricketer.
Right.
Yeah.
And another thing is, I'd encourage you have to have some type of game plan for these games you're playing in. You know, you gotta have A and B. If you're going for a small turtle, sometimes the small turtles can be hard to get. And if you're going for a big one, you always gotta have a plan A and B. You know, and this is some of the things, but maybe some of the smaller clubs like the Clevelands and the Flats are probably struggling in. You know, setting up a nice game plan, chasing these turtles, or even batting first, like you know, losing wickets like early. Do you have somebody that could come in like a left-hander if a guy's bowling off, you know, leg breaker? You sometimes coaches. That's why most of the time coaches are there for to assist in things like that. You just can't keep the same batting order each time. And each week you're failing. This is probably what happened with these two teams, because they're failing miserably all the time. You know what I mean? You have to try different things, especially if you ain't getting no runs. And like you said, coaching is important. Like Terry said, it's a process, and the process is like, when you do train, you gotta eliminate your bad habits. Like when you go there, like, how I'm getting out. What do I need to go get better? So you just go back in the nest and continue doing the same things, or, you know, to say it's not gonna work. You know, you have to, and I'm not just talking about each. I'm talking about each player that bats in the top 5, 6, maybe the 11. You know, because it can't continue to happen each week. Like, you know, this almost mid-season already. And these teams should be, you know, like, it's not much run scored this year, tell you the truth, out of the Premier Division and First Division.
Yeah. Well, I want to quickly bring in the national coach, Cal Waldron. I know, Cal, you have the team having dinner in a bit, but we just wanted to talk to you about today's match. I guess a little disappointed on your behalf as well.
Without a doubt, we strategically planned to approach Canada, and a few things we did miss. in the Berlin sense. They were capable of posting a rather large total, considering the par score on that pitch was only like 140 something. So, we did exceed runs with that, but it was a good betting pitch. We still should have approached it differently and managed a better score than what we got.
Yeah. Anybody want to jump in real quick?
Yeah, one thing, Cal, towards the end, I saw, I don't know, Derek was building the last over. Did you guys have plans for that, or that's just the way it happened? I know because he had built really good in his first bow, but towards the end, I think he gave up a lot of runs in the last over. Something.
23.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't say he wasn't supposed to build, but it ended up being Berlin, and that's where we talk about the lengths go missing or the lengths go wrong, and he got punished. So he could have or should have built earlier, but that's the skipper on the field, and we take his decision. But the simple little things of over pitching, it just really cost you.
Yeah, the one thing about Canada, they're aggressive right from the start. They try to make 2 out of none and 4s and 6s out of the good balls. So winning the toss, was that the plan was to send them? I mean, that obviously, why did we send them to bat?
It was a good pitch. I mean, it had excessive grass, which is why we, going through the analytical data of that team, that's why we took the 3 seamers. We pitched suited us. If we build, when we build in the right areas, we got the results we wanted. And when we over pitch, there's really boundary balls. So, it's a learning curve of the builders consistently hitting their marks. So that's something we're going to go over tomorrow when we look at the pitch maps, just to see the variances of how much we were off and what it cost us.
Yeah.
Karen.
And then, of course, in your chase, you had the unfortunate situation of getting an early run out.
Yeah, that kind of hindered us and hampered us. So, it puts pressure, particularly on the batsman that comes in and the batsman that's already there. Like I said, Canada stuck to the lengths, which is something that I think we need to learn how to play on the up. We can't quite play on the up yet. Our pitches don't bounce like that. So we're used to playing fuller length balls. So we could drive through the covers and hit over, but when the ball's hard lengths and you got to play kind of off the back foot type of stuff, it's a transition period for us.
So obviously you had some opportunities to train there, right? Is the pitches similar to that or the flatter?
Yeah. The practice pitches, mind you, the opposition was different. So we didn't get that pace and bounce that the Canadians offered. We only played against Cayman and Bahamas. Right. So quite obvious their builders aren't at that speed to build at that length and get, that bounce. When we look at quite a few balls that went across chest height as opposed to balls that normally were knee height, base height that we could play at.
Right. All right.
Does this added pressure in obviously now you're kind of chasing because it's only 4 teams. Obviously you played the other 2 teams in the warm-ups and you've dealt with them. But does this put more pressure on you of now we have to win those 4 games and then wait, anticipate that last Canadian game?
Yeah, it changes our strategic approach to games now. We have to kind of strategically approach the other games totally different. We're, mindful of what came out of, what will come out of today's other match that, we have to run or chase runs to make sure that we're in the net run rate with Canada if it comes down to the last game. So strategically, we have to plan a little different on our approach to the other matches.
The island's been on a high in sports. It's up to you guys now. It's going to come to that last one, and obviously, the team is the team, and the team is together. How do we start to look at some of the the senior players? Let's take this bull by the horn kind of thing.
Yeah, of course, that's what Joe was hoping, but you know, there's always that one individual like Derek today that you know could come in and do a job. Don't leave it to the next person. Or
Right.
say he can do it, and now it's your turn. You have to do it. So, you know, that's the approach each individual has to take. That the ownership is on me. The responsibility is on me. I have the ball in my hand. I know what I should be bowling. Let me bowl it. I'm going out there to bat. I know what I should be doing. If the senior person or the other batsman's on strike, just rotate strike to get him on strike. You know, those type of things.
Right. Yeah, we were just talking about rotating strikes.
Yeah.
The local cricket here now, you know, players are not using soft hands enough, and create, you know, rotation. So, but it looks as though that you guys are going to have to, you know, obviously go ahead and continue on planning forward. You're well aware. So, and I wish you guys all the best in that, Cal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Appreciate it, but I mean, I've been listening, and like Doc said, well, you mentioned the problem with Bermuda cricket is we hit the ball hard to guys that are on the circle. Like nobody wants to play them soft hands or do the dirty work of running.
Right.
But everybody wants to hit the ball past the circle and jog as we saw today. And you know, instead of running hard.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that was towards the end of the innings, right?
Yeah, the Proctor run out at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, good fielding, but still, you know what I mean? The energy just wasn't there to say run hard.
And you're right, Cal. And that's what I'm saying, man. You play at like you could get away with it playing in Bermuda because some of the fielders is not alert to situations like that. But the higher you get, these guys, notice if they're just ambling down there, these guys are going to throw the ball at the wicket. And most of the times they're going to either hit, and you're going to find yourself short. If you take your eye off that ball for 2 seconds with these guys, I'm telling you, they'll throw in at the stumps. So you can't be just ambling down. And that's like, and that's something that we have to learn when we play international cricket, man. These guys have got some strong arms, man. This guy Crichton, I saw him play last year or 2 years ago. This guy throws the ball from the boundary, man, right over the stumps. Like, you know, these guys are good fielders.
That's pretty much everybody. I mean, even the players in the Smash last week showed you that throwing 60 yards is easy.
Yeah,
you know, we just don't have the physical or physical players to be able to constantly do that. There are some that can do it, but there's just not, you know what I mean, a team full of 10 people that can do it. But these guys, everybody, I ain't taking a chance on nobody because everybody could throw hard.
Yeah. But what I'm saying, that's what I'm saying, when we're betting, we're taking those singles, we have to be mindful. Like we're gonna have to slide our bets. You can't just amble down, you know what I mean? You got to make sure that you cover all your bases, like run your first one hard. Because the minute you hesitate on these guys, that's it.
Yeah, and then you know it's the guys in the circle that killer instinct. I'm not there to save one. I'm here to stop one.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's all about the basics, man.
Yeah. So, Cal, you saying there's wickets, so it's bunts. What about the spin? Because I saw Derek, he bowled pretty good his first spell. Is it taking a little turn too, or it's mainly like it's like for seamers, or you getting a nice bunt?
It's offering variety to both if you're in the right areas. It's full of grass, so the ball is always white, it's always clean. It's turning like when Del Rey got out, that ball spun. Gosh, man, you looked at the video, it just turned big.
Okay, yeah.
You know, it's just
I thought so.
Bill are friendly or Bill are helpful in a sense. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? I even mentioned to the umpires, I don't think umpires in Bermuda would have played on that pitch with the grass on it. That amount of grass. They would have been like, can you cut it off?
Yeah.
It was that, huh?
Yeah, it was very grassy, and I mean it's pressed hard. It is really, really hard. But you know, it's a tournament. If a pitch has got to last the tournament, so
so
as much grass on it.
Those games are at King City?
Yes.
Okay.
Right, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. But I wish you well.
It looks as if Cayman's gonna win this match here.
Yeah.
They got 183 for 7 in that 20, and Bahamas are 135 for 6 with 11 balls to go. So they need 11. They need 49 off of 11. So with 4 wickets.
Okay.
So Cal, obviously knowing your other two oppositions, you obviously you guys have to come up with a plan, and obviously the other big thing is always weather, because when you're playing a tournament of this length, if you're behind the eight ball, you're always playing catch up. You're always got one eye on the weather and one eye on your opposition. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to go in and control the things we can control. So it's been sun. It was blazing sun today, so hopefully the sun stays for the duration of the tournament. Like I said, we'll prepare tomorrow. We'll look at the analytical data, analyze the Bahamas batsmen and all of that stuff. So it's key that we take this information and use it to make the game easy.
Right.
There were spells today that we built in the right spots, in the right areas. Like Tyree, the bouncer he got, we set him up perfectly. So we just got to be wary of what we should be doing and doing it consistently. And
Right.
Yeah.
3 balls or 2 balls here. I mean, in the end, Zico last over, he built that 19th over. That was a close out over perfect.
Yeah. I was just about to talk about that too, because that 19th over, like you said, he really built out. And so they think he end up only building 3 overs though, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's you know what I mean. It's a gamble of the person that's won.
Yeah.
Understanding that who should be building to what batsman, and there's a lot of thought processes in it that until you consistently do it over and over and over, that you're aware of what should be done. We probably know it more easier with the local players than the international players. So it's just something that in this arena you just have to constantly know who to build to who.
Yeah. Exactly.
I want to thank you for joining. I know you have some other matters to attend to, but we want to wish you all the best. We'll get back with you, as the tournament goes on. Hopefully, we can get a win come our very next game, which is tomorrow, and we move from pillar to post. So again.
Congratulations on your all team. PAT. I was up to that game, boy. Jeez, boy. 2 runs, 1 run.
One line after my match, I was like, "What on earth?"
I'm gonna strangle my boy.
We're talking about Trey, innit?
Sorry, both arms. I wanted to strangle Trey at first, and then I said, "Well, let me go watch the other one." I watch him. I said, "Oh shit, no, he's doing it." But it was a good game, man. That game swung like from stars to PHC back and forth, But like we said, I don't know if you heard online, it was a lot of both betting teams that really, like I would say, bad. When guys got in, they was getting out. Both teams. Well, both teams are guilty on it. Like, because stars at one point was like 50 to 60 with nobody out. And then Torrey came on and got 4 quick wickets, changed the game around. Then SARS got another partnership, and then I can't remember who broke that. And then that's how it ended, man. It was one of those games where we talked about nobody partnership wins games, and that's all. That's the end of PAC winning because they stuck to the task.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that. Knocking on my door. I gotta go for dinner.
Right.
Yep.
All right.
All right, mate.
Cool, man.
Best of luck.
You out
No
there,
problem.
Cal? You and the team.
All right, we're going to take another commercial break. When we come back, we'll have more of the Island Stats Cricket Show. Thanks a lot, Cal.
Silence beneath the clear blue sky, where the ocean meets the land, and the long tails fly in Bermuda. Our hearts belong to this beautiful island. As an island, we are strong, proudly Bermudian. In every single way, from the sunrise to the sunset, and every single day for over 135 years. It's been clear, Lady Silence, proudly Bermudian, bringing us near. Cause we are proudly Bermudian.
Nothing says summer like the bright taste of Sunkist. From the bold burst of orange to the tropical splash of pineapple and grape, every flavor is sunshine in a bottle. Stock up on your favorites and keep cool all season long. Sunkist, perfect for beach days, the boat, and backyard fun. Proudly distributed by John Barrett & Son Limited and available at Lindo's. Sunkist has what you need to bring home that summer feeling. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
And welcome back. Well, let's talk a little bit about the match up at Southampton Oval. Sorry, Somerset Bridge put up a total of 198, and they would have. I guess they'd have or 196. Sorry, they'd have walked off the field feeling good about the fact that they scored 196 runs against Southampton Rangers. You had Sean Riley scoring 70 off of 84 balls. 8 fours, 3 sixes. You had Niall Thacker scoring 49 off of 64. Jason Smith 25. Your team that has been struggling, but you score 196. Terry, take us through that intermission. What are you telling your players from Somerset Bridge?
Yeah, I mean, 196 is definitely a defendable total, you know. But it's about again hitting those good lines, those good lengths, you know, and again, hopefully they will have a plan, you know, and be able to execute that. Whether or not they got the personnel to do it is another thing. But he has to encourage them to be, you know, up in the field, paying attention, you know, walking in and taking every opportunity that they can get. And win the game, because 196 runs is quite a bit of runs to defend in 20 overs. You know, even though Rangers they played at Rangers, correct?
Yeah, they played at Rangers. Yeah,
Rangers is a small field. I would have felt confident enough that we should be able to defend that. But it's all up against, you know, it's up for the bowlers after that.
Right. Yeah, and in reply, Doc. You had the two openers, you know, just pile on pressure. You had Arunde and Nakori. Arunde scoring 91 off of 63, 14 fours, 1 6, and Nakori Smith scored 92 not out, 68 balls, 10 fours, 4 sixes. Those two put on 186 run partnership in 21.3 overs.
Yeah.
That I mean, wow.
Wow.
And gotta remember, like you said, but that was a trend. That was 50 overs. So that partnership alone right there, that probably broke some of your rears back right there. But like you said, like Terry said, I'm wondering what lines and length they build at, you know? It must have been a fairly decent track up. Well, it is normally up ranges, isn't it?
Right.
It's just that, you know, you gotta remember building up the ranges is the width of the field, you can't afford to drop short.
Right.
You might have to try to build a little fuller, you know, give yourself a chance. But you know, so that 196, you know, it probably wasn't enough in the 50 overs. No, in 2020, but it probably been a good game. But they got a good start. They got a good Rangers got a good start. You know, Runde and the other guys. So that laid the foundation for them.
Without a doubt, if you look at the burden for Bridge, Noel Ward's built 7 overs, gave up 41. He had 20 dot balls.
Wow.
You had the boy Douglas. He bowled 3 overs. He gave up 20 runs, but did 10 dot balls. So off of 8 balls, he got 20 runs scored against him. Because if you look at it, 10 is just 2 balls shy of 2 overs. So he had runs scored on 8 of his balls. The others, I mean, McIntosh 9 dot balls out of 4 overs. Sean Riley 8 dot balls out of 4 overs. Donnie Charles 4 dot balls in 2 overs. And Donnie gave up 27 runs. So if you look at it, off of 8 balls, Donnie gave up 27 runs. You know, and that's what you guys are saying. The problem, if you're not bowling well, you're gonna struggle. I mean, Thacker bowled 1 over, gave up 16. Richards bowled 1 over, gave up 16 as well. Both of them only had 1 dot ball in the 1 over that they bowled. You've got to be a little more consistent and bowl at least try to get at least 3 to 4 dot balls each over. If you're gonna try and defend the score.
It would have been interesting to see the field placing at that time too, or what side the wicket they was bowling at, because it seems like most of them got dot balls, but they might have been either bowling too full or too short where they was making runs off because. And then it was interesting again to see how many catches it might have been dropped too.
Right.
Because they have the dot balls there, but but the other balls they scored off, and that's a prime example, right? How you build a partnership.
Yeah.
You got to respect the good balls, right?
Right.
Look, 180 some run partnership. Come on, man. That is very good. In 20 something overs.
Yeah.
That's not bad. That's obviously the guys done the homework on the bowlers. It might have been a 1 or 2 drop catches or field placing or stuff. Heads drop, but that's not the batsman's fault.
No, not at all. The final match was up at Somerset Cricket Club where Willowcotts won by 88 runs over Devonshire Recreation Club. Willowcotts batted first. They had a opening partnership between Ross Solomon Burrows and Dwight Baisden of 113.
Wow.
Ross scored 54. Dwight scored 40. Now, okay, so when Ross fell, the score was 113 in the 27th over. The very next ball, Dwight got out. So they were 113 now. Well, first of all, 113 with outlaws, then 113 for 2. They lost the last 8 wickets in 14 just over 16 overs, and they only scored 85 runs.
Wow.
So how many overs did they end up betting? They didn't bet that the full quarter. Full quarter.
46 overs, yeah, 46.
How many?
46.
Yeah. Well, like you said, that's again for partnership. Only thing is, if that one is that both of the set batsmen got out at the same time, one after another.
Yeah.
And that normally is what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
A new batsman coming in struggling.
It was the end of the over. Ross got out the end of the over. The very next ball, Dwight was bowled.
Right.
Yeah, and obviously they struggled with partners, like you guys are talking. Struggled with partners. Only 2 other batsmen made double figures. Everybody else was in single digits.
Yeah.
You say that, Ronnie Rowe, like the set batsman has to stay in.
Yeah.
Because it's in. He's going to score freely. The next batsman, just all they got to do come and give the person the strike. Hit the bay ball. But when you get both of them getting out, it's like the 2 new batsmen got to start all over again.
And the ability is now lifted.
Yeah. It's going through the bowlers, isn't it?
Yeah.
The whole dynamic of the game changes.
Yeah. You had Treddy Gibbons taking 3 for 26 off of 9.2. Nairobi Carmichael taking 3 wickets for 55 off of 9. And then obviously in the run chase, Rack started off the two opening batsmen, Shaquille Pitcher and Nkrumah Cannoneer. One got 16, one got 26, but the rest, had, if you look at it, George O'Brien was out without scoring off of one ball. Carmichael out without scoring off of 2 balls. Rudall Pitcher out without scoring off of 1 ball. And it was just a rotation of guys out, guys in, and Rack never really recovered.
Yeah, they won that game. Not like that. It'll struggle for him.
Definitely. You had Quincy James with 3.5 overs, 1 maiden, 5 for 23. Again, if the Berlin analysis, they were just shopping the bowlers around as if it was a T20 because Sheldon Caesar bowled 5, Mackay Simmons bowled, Micah Simmons, bowled 5, Quincy bowled 3.5, Kamal Bashir bowled 3, and Nakori Swan bowled 4. So they just kept rotating those bowlers. And they kept the pressure on Devonshire Rack. So
Well, it's good for Willicots to do that because that's strategy as well. You know what I mean? And rotating the bowlers as much as they did, it doesn't allow the batsman to set. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Yeah, got to be watching. All the time. So that's good on them.
And most likely they was I'm just saying, to add to what Terry said, most likely they'll probably build into new batsmen coming in too.
Each time,
So that's like starting all over for them too.
Right. All right. So I've got a few names for you for player of the week. We'll start off with Rohan Davis, 5 wickets for Western Stars. I think he got 19 or 20 runs.
Better go too.
Will be a losing cause, but we can't overlook what he was able to do. Detroit Smith in a winning cause, led the St. George's batting and then led the St. George's bowling, all-round performance. You have the young Bailey's Bay. I don't actually just pronounce that gentleman's name. 5 wickets. And he took 5 wickets against Cleveland. Also, the 2 openers for Southampton Rangers, Nakori and Orunde, both getting off to, guiding their team to victory, 91 and 92. And then it was one more.
Crazy for 5.
Oh, yeah, Crazy 5. That's right, Crazy 5. Yes. So, I'll start with you, Doc. Put the pressure on Terry a little bit.
So what was Detroit's figures? He got 5 too, or he didn't get 5, did he?
Who's that?
Detroit Smith.
Detroit got 4 wickets for 19 runs and a run out, and he scored 39.
And because I'm looking, I think Rohan, I watched that game. He really did bat good, but then got out. He was possibly my man in the match, but he was on a losing course. So
right.
And I'm just looking at Detroit and Crazy. Crazy got 5 too, right? Did Crazy get any run?
Crazy got 7.
Okay. I'm kind of leaning to Detroit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because it's on a vending, 39. He's the highest score. He was the highest score, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Right. And then he got 4 wickets. So like that's that's probably the reason. And they lost. I mean, they end up winning by 23 runs. So if you think about that,
his contribution was vital.
Exactly.
Yeah. Terry?
Yeah, I was before Doc even mentioned his name. I was already looking at him. Detroit.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll announce Detroit Smith as the player of the week.
Yes, sir.
Because no matter who I pick, even if I pick him, it's three of us.
Out of curiosity, who you had in mind?
Yeah.
Detroit. I had Detroit.
Okay.
Both minds think alike, bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen.
Yep, thank
Enjoy
you.
the rest of your Father's Day. We'll be back next week, Sunday, with another edition of the Island Stats Cricket Show. And hopefully, when we return next week, Sunday, Bermuda's in a better position. And, you know, we look forward to that final game. So enjoy the week. Let's wish our team a lot of success for the upcoming week in cricket. All right?
Be right
Hope so. All right.
Okay.
Right behind all the way.
Yes, indeed.
Thanks.
All right. Cool.